Hello, good evening, welcome. This is Ghana Tonight. We are live from a news hub here at Adesawe Kanda. We're live on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com. I am Alfred Ocansey. Tonight, we stay on the matters arising from the scheduled by-election in the Asin North constituency, where embattled James Echakwesen has declared his intention to vie for the position again. What are the legal implications and what are his chances? In fact, we have a discussion with our panel on this matter. Stay with us. We are in the Asin North constituency. Also, persons who have defaulted in registering their SIM cards before the lapse of the 31st May deadline have been given a lifeline, subject to conditions. The Momo agents, they have concerns. Stay with us. They'll join us. We'll look into the two of the Supreme Court's recent decisions that the imposition of the Restrictions Act 2020 and the Plant Variety Protection Act 2020. We have one of the plaintiffs joining us tonight. As always, you're an integral part of the conversation. Let's hear from you. The hashtag we're using is Ghana Tonight on Facebook and Twitter. Let's get talking. Well, let's settle for Ghana Briefs. Renowned economist Kwame Pianim has warned government to stop raising money from international banks to finance cocoa beans purchases. This follows concerns by the International Monetary Fund that COCOBOD's quasi-fiscal activities have become a major burden on the company's finances.
How can COCOBOD be almost bankrupt when all they are doing is taking money and buying cocoa from the farmers? Maybe we should restructure and then forget about this idea of borrowing billions of dollars in anticipation of cocoa sales. We should.
The government has pleaded with pensioner bondholders to exercise patience as it mobilizes funds to settle their unpaid matured coupons. According to a Deputy Minister for Finance, Abdonse Asari, the delay is caused by the unavailability of funds and the current economic crisis.
Currently, we all know the circumstances in which we find ourselves. And I'll plead with you, let's sit and clear the five, and then we'll see the way forward. So respectfully, let's meet tomorrow, discuss this, and look at the long-term payment for the principal.
Organized Labour is to review its position to allow the government to include its pension funds in the debt restructuring program after meeting with the Finance Ministry. The Finance Ministry convinced Labour to accept this new deal to allow the government access to the bond market. Spokesperson of Organized Labour and Secretary General of the TUC, Dr. Yaba, after a closed-door meeting with the Finance Ministry in Accra, had this to say in an exclusive interview with my colleague and Labour correspondent Daniel Opoku.
From around 11 to about 1, we engaged the Minister of Finance, and the Minister for Employment was also here. And they have made a very thorough presentation on the DDEP, including a new offer that they have presented. So now we as Organized Labour are going to consider whatever they have presented, and then we will take a decision.
Former Attorney General and Minister for Justice Joe Gatti and MP for Asin Central Kennedy Japan have officially joined the new Patriotic Party's flag bearer race after picking their forms. Both aspirants have pledged to prioritize reforms targeting economic growth and social development.
The most experienced candidate. I'm a party man. I am knowledgeable in the law. I'm knowledgeable in matters to do with parliament. I'm knowledgeable in infrastructure development. I'm going to bring a kind and gentle Ghana. I'm compassionate.
Create more businesses in Ghana, conglomeration, to make sure that Ghanaians own our own big business is not owned by South Africans and Indians and the rest. And that is what he stands for. He's coming to make sure that our people own Ghana.
Mobile subscribers whose SIM cards have been deactivated have another opportunity to restore them by completing the registration process. Affected customers have access to funds in their wallets and can activate all SIM-related services using the Ghana card. Customers can dial *404# on all networks to initiate registration process. A number of persons, including a Mamprose chief, have been reportedly killed in a renewed land dispute between Gonjas and Mamprochis. There was serious exchange of gunfire in the early hours of Thursday between Mamprochis and Gonjas at Lukula and Anyogbeni in a renewed land dispute. Information gathered indicates that Lukula community has also been totally razed by Gonja warriors. Women and children have fled the area.
We are not kids in this town. We know the level of development prior to the elections. They have neglected us for long. If the NDC presents Kwesi 100 times, we will vote for him 100 times. They have sat down until a by-election, and if they think this is the best time for road construction to start, we welcome it.
Well, why not? They definitely will welcome the development that's coming. The people you saw there talking are constituents of the Asin North constituency. You've seen what's happening there. They've started constructing roads there. They woke up this morning to some brisk construction of roads and other things happening in the constituency, just as we saw ahead of the Kumeu by-election. Or guess what? There are people who say that politicians will never change because they realize that this is something that works for them. So regardless of how you shout about it, guess what? They do it and they get results because the constituents don't punish politicians, right? And that's a conversation we're going to be having. Whether the Ghanaian electorate has matured to that point where after seeing this, you've been in underdevelopment all the while, and just few weeks or few days to an election, not just even a by-election, general election, a lot of things happens. How do you, beyond shouting, reflect that in your votes? But the Asin North constituency, as we established 2 days ago, is a typical swing constituency. It's pretty interesting. From 1996, these are the individuals who won the seat for both the NPP and the NDC, and that's why the NPP is confident they can pull a magic on this. The NDC believes that this is it. They're going to retain their seat. And we'll look at the candidature of James Achikwesen as well. But this is it. 1996, Florence Kumi won the seat for the NDC. The Asin North seat in 1996 with some 24,080 votes. Kwabena Karikari or Apau of the NPP just came a little over 13,000 votes there. If you look at the 2000 elections, that's when Kennedy Japan came in. Kennedy Ohene Japan won this constituency a number of times. And so you have some political analysts saying that, look, if he gets into the mix of campaigning for the NPP ahead of this by-election in Asin North, how is his impact also going to be on the NPP's quest to reclaim that seat? Look at that, 20,000, a little over 20,000 votes. And then Florence Kumi of the NDC, who was the incumbent, lost with some 14,000 votes. And look at what happened in 2004. Same. Kennedy Japan increased his margins from 20,000 to 27,255. The NDC changed his candidate to one Percy Kwesi Abuaje Mensah. He increased their votes by some 16,966 as against the 14,000 that the incumbent had in the year 2000. Look at what happened in 2008. Nothing really different, right? and the kind of circumstances that we saw as well in the year 2008. Kennedy Japan, in this same instance, also reduced his votes a bit, and the NDC appreciated it in that margin with a little over 18,800 votes, and then Kennedy Japan dropping from 27,000 to 24,181. Look at that. This was in the 2008 elections. Then look at 2012. 2012, the NDC won Asin North with a new candidate, 14,338. And then Ebenezer Piakobi in there as well for the NPP. And in the year 2016, something very, very interesting happened as well, where we saw in 2016, Abena Druwa Mensah of the MPP actually took the seat for the MPP. And then Samuel Ambre of the NDC came second with 10,751. The dynamics are pretty interesting. And now you know what happened in the 2020 elections with James Chachequason winning that seat for the NPP. Kennedy Japan is now the Asin Central Member of Parliament, that constituency that was carved out of this particular constituency. So it's very interesting days ahead, and especially the personalities at play in this as well. And Kennedy Japan, you know, he's raised concerns already after he declares his intention to contest the flag bearership of the MPP. In fact, he picked his nominations today, the nomination forms today. And already you had some reactions coming through as a result. Stay with me. Right after this quick break, coming up next, we get into the Kumewu, that's the Asin North constituency, where we're speaking to the constituents there. What you see is what's happening in the constituency with respect to the overnight construction of roads that's happening, and then also the embattled James Chachequason declaring his intentions to vie for that position again. What are both the political and the legal implications and his chances as well? Stay with me. Professor Smart Sapong will be joining us. We've been to that constituency already. You'll hear from the constituents. We'll be back shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to demonstrate to you the superior properties of Flamingo paint as compared to other paint brands on the market. We take equal quantities of Flamingo paint and this ordinary paint. We then dilute them with water. And now, let the test begin. The gentleman on the left is going to apply the ordinary paint, and the gentleman on my right will use the Flamingo superior paint. As you can clearly see, Flamingo has the obvious better hiding. Furthermore, Flamingo has painted a much larger area. You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint is made with superior formulation to give superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
The marriage counselors are on their way. Hey, they have to inspect your place before they approve the marriage. Fala Friday. Friday we are home.
I think they are here. Let me call you back.
We need AC.
I get fan too.
We need fridge. Many sure procedure washing machine crowd. We need TV. Hey, just what they have here. And Pankwana.
Hey, where they are to Pankwana?
At the entertainment in Kwadi. Eddie Assembeba. Our way, Embassy.
Hey, Cratchit, into TCL Fala Friday promotion. Into what day?
Yes, Friday we are. TCL Fala Friday is back. Up to 50% discount on all TCL products. Should I say TVs, ACs, fridges, washing machines, Nina are selling at up to 50% discount. Visit any TCL showroom nationwide now wants to enjoy Fala Nibiwa.
Everybody knows Acrobato. And if you know Acrobato, it means you know M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic is my pillar. Let's hear. what others are saying about endpoint homeopathic clinic. Who will be careful endpoint one?
Pa. Chese na me ankasa me period na se problems wom. Ntina ma wo ho idea ma me. Papa chese na nya asem ketewa. Na me coin point no, mo hwe me mogya mu no mo hwe bibia na so mo meduro. Mo meduro me fire no. Ene ma won kra me enu. Foforo kwa na me kwan mu a eba.
Head everything yourself.
Me ma me no adwodwo eda ho a wontumi nante. And then ko endpoint omama no nura and then why dia watimi asori anante.
That's endpoint for you.
Of Akrabato.
Hello.
Hey, Oshisho what chair?
Okay.
A free bra with the endpoint what dance. I'm a choir no. Me Johnson sama na nkoye and person my emre nyina and na magina sabema. Na me be fear for there. The one dey nyina jaresa.
You heard everything. I have secret. Endpoint is my secret. Endpoint homeopathic clinic. I'm free.
D aje dwedien krato yatum. At long last, Blue Jays Vodka makes a bummer kit. Blue Jays Vodka makes Numbi a fine.
Yes, look, the guys are chilling with Blue Jays Vodka mix.
Wow! Numbi a tasty.
Can we join you guys? We are all single. Yeah. I'm fine.
Blue Jays Vodka mix and we are dead. Taste to me kama. Enjoy the unique taste of Blue Jays Vodka Mix. Blue Jays Vodka Mix. Numbi, a fine.
Blue Jays Vodka Mix. Blue Jays Vodka Mix.
Numuni Nyansem, one ton money power in fear don't watch it. And says up in for
Superfarm Network presents a hilarious stage play. Alomo Jata.
Alomo. Why? What is going on? Why are you all bent down like that?
I'm dancing with my man.
Your man? We just broke up 2 weeks ago and you have a new man.
No time to waste.
Okay, so where's the man?
Baby.
He shot you.
Alomo Jata, directed by Francis Tetenutako. Date Saturday time, June 2023. Venue National Theatre. Time 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. prompt. 450 cities. Dial star 447 star 1059 hash.
Sponsored by Sun Freight and Logistics,
Ebony Condoms, Food 101,
FFP Rice, Brunswick,
and M Notify, and supported by GH Media, MX24 TV,
and TV3.
Are you into a small-scale enterprise? Do you want to boost your sales? Do you want to shine your hustle? Then register now to be a part of the annual TV3 SME Fair and Funding Summit 2023, happening from the 7th to 11th June 2023 at the Junction Mall, Nungwa. This time is going to be bigger and better with a lot of fun engagement and activities like free social media marketing, training access to funding support for your business, live interviews, dance contest, sing-alongs, kids special playground on Saturday, Java sessions, fashion night, giveaways, and many more. Remember, it's from Wednesday 7th June to Sunday 11th June from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. each day. For enquiries and registration, call 0541 159 715 or 0554 049 778. TV3 SME Fair and Funding Summit. Growing your business.
Welcome back. This is Ghana Tonight. We are live on TV3 Ghana on Facebook. Now, we went to the Asin North constituency earlier today, and this is what we found out. We've seen some bulldozers on certain roads that were bad, and then also these construction works taking place briskly as we speak. And there you see some of the NPP supporters who were actually on the streets because one of the persons seeking to contest this by-election on the ticket of the NPP went to submit his forms. In fact, he went to pick his nomination forms today. Now, this was happening in the community. These bad roads that they've been living with all the while, a lot is happening there already. And in fact, it's not just that. We've seen other developmental projects just taking place in the constituency. Now, question is, we saw this in the Kumeu, ahead of the Kumeu by-election. Questions were raised about why this should be happening. But guess what? Regardless of the commentary and also the analysis from political watchers, this is happening again. So you heard them saying a by-election, and what that means is that this is the by-election road. That's what they're doing. And so it appears that until you have a by-election in your constituency, certain developmental projects you've been crying about for quite a while would not happen as soon as you want it to be, right? And that raises fundamental questions about the essence of democracy, okay? But the managing editor of the Daily Dispatch newspaper and pollster, Benefson, he's been speaking to us about the possible outcome of the by-election in Asin North constituency based on his own lenses. He gives the NDC a nod to win this, but he has a caveat to it. Take a look.
If Geche decides to contest, he may win based on sympathy votes. If he decides to contest, because obviously the heart of the ruling was that at the time he signed the forms to contest, he hadn't completed the process of renunciation of his Canadian citizenship. Now that he has finished, so he's now a Ghanaian, he's no more Canadian. If he decides to contest, it will be an interesting situation. He may decide to stand. If he loses criminal trial, he can still go to court. But you see, if you contest this issue of if you vote for him, because whoever is going to contest him in the MPP primary, NDC primaries, will use this against him. That the man is going to be on trial. Now, the man is popular. The swing delegates may decide, because the MPP, NDC will have to have an election to select a candidate. If the one opposing him uses the possibility that we vote for him, he'll be wasting his time going to court and he may be jailed. There's likely to be apathy within the NDC, because the person who has won has supporters, and this man, his popularity is that the father was a well-known businessman and farmer in the constituency. So he was living off the family's popularity. So if he decides that, well, we are innocent until proven guilty, he's being charged with criminal offenses, it's the delegates who decide. And I'm sure what's going to contest, he's going to remind the delegates, what if you elect him and is convicted? If they decide that, well, it will be risky to place him, and he insists, I'm sure the one who will be opposing him will use this against him. Now, what if you elect him and he's convicted? I think that whoever wins, the MPP may decide to play smart and field an independent candidate from where that candidate is. So you let them have their primaries. Let's see what plays out. Then you can come back and we talk.
We'll see how things play out, and we're watching quite closely as today James Achekwesen has actually declared his intention to contest. So that answers part of Benepson's, the poster and editor-in-chief of Daily Dispatch newspaper's question that if he decides to contest, he may win based on sympathy votes. We want to find out from Professor Smart Sapong, a senior lecturer at Kumasi Technical University Institute of Research, and also is a political analyst, joining us on Zoom. Professor Smart Sapong, thank you so much for joining us on Ghana Tonight. Do you also see same working for James Achekwesen, the sympathy votes, and the fact that with all this that happened at the time, the issues that were used against him are no more? But Benefson also raises that other side of the case that is still running in court and how his opponents could use that against him.
Well, Alfred, a very good evening to our cherished viewers. Now, it is not a matter of doubt that the Chikwueze is contesting. I have insisted that he is the best bet for the NDC. Any new candidate that files on the ticket of the NDC would come at a disadvantage right from the word go. So the Chikwueze is their best bet. And I was glad to see him declare his intentions today to contest on the ticket of the NDC. I just want to urge the NDC to give him full support, both legal support for the possible legal cases before him and also support to go. He is their best bet. It is a swing constituency and the chances are 50-50. The MPP is counting on projects that were undertaken. Some were undertaken before the declaration of the vacancy. And then the obvious, what you and I'm sure we'll be talking about, that which has arisen as a result of the declaration of the vacancy. So let's see the projects, and then let's see whether the people would find sympathy for him and then retain him, or swing or change to the NPP. It is possible, both is possible, because if you check the 2022 results, and we have largely discussed it, you realize that the MPP won in the presidential, indicating to you that it is not so clearly an NDC seat, whilst the parliamentary, the NDC won. So, yeah, it is so open a place, and if there is any correlation between projects, properly thought through projects done and executed before declaration and votes, then perhaps the NPP has a chance. The NDC heightens their chances by filing the Chikwueze.
I see. Now, so the point you make, quite critical there, that the presidential results in the 2020 elections, the NPP, that's Nanado won in this constituency, but then it was more of like a skirt and blouse situation, where the parliamentary, the NDC won. But how much of a difference will the sympathy votes make if James Chikwueze is maintained? Quickly.
Good. So sympathy would be based on the person expressing same. He is smart. Talking to you this evening wouldn't have felt any sympathy for Chikwueze, and I'm doing so as a person. I'm not generalizing. It will be fine if Asenov finds it prudent to be sympathetic towards him. But the reason why I am not is that he is not the first dual citizen to try or to have tried to contest and represent his people in parliament. There have been many before him. What lessons did he learn at the time he decided to come and represent his people? And what stopped him from starting the processes very early to enable him beat all the timelines and deadlines? What it tells us is that he was quite not too certain with his decision, and that is the result of where we are now. He has disturbed his political party. He has disturbed his people as saying, in fact, for virtually the first 2-3 years that he's been in parliament, I'm not sure he's had the peace of mind to represent his people the way he would have wished to represent them. So he should first of all take part of the blame for all these things we are discussing today. And the lessons to future dual citizens who would wish, until the law is amended, they should be abreast with the law, and at the point where they are deciding, they should be fully convinced, denounce completely, maybe a year even ahead of the contest, so that you come here as somebody without any blame, fully cleared to participate, and not this one that when the way he went, I think you could have done better. He could have decided early enough and then save us all from all these things that are happening.
I see, we are seeing the overnight development, and that's what we saw there, the videos of this development taking place. It's just some 26 days ahead of this by-election, per the Electoral Commission's timetable, the 27th of June, that's the date announced. It appears that after the Kumail by-election, the advice you gave to the MPP clearly it didn't fall on listening ears.
Yeah.
If what we are saying is anything to go by. But question is, has the Ghanaian electorate matured enough to, as it were, in your own words, punish the politician for such things where in few days to an election, the development they've been crying for so long, they start seeing something happening just because there's an election. Do you think that they can be punished for that?
Yeah, so I like the angle of your question, whether the Ghanaian has actually learned or has become matured to the level where they are ready to perhaps use the word punish for starvation and then release of food in abundance on the occurrence of an event. My answer is no. The Ghanaian voter hasn't, we are not there yet. It will take some time, but the same politicians who are supposed to spearhead this education and educate the voting populace, you can add the NCCE who would say they do not have enough budget but are doing very little with the budget they have. These two agencies will not do it because perhaps the funds for NCCE comes from the very politician who would benefit from the in quote, respectfully, ignorance or perhaps the low level of voter education in some of these things. They benefit at the end of the day. Yeah, so eventually they would want the status quo to remain. But in any advanced democracy where the people are very developed, they have contributed their little to national coffers and demands some basic things, basic needs to their various communities or constituencies and are starved. They would not take such a spontaneous overnight developments for granted. They would have actually acted somehow by, if we can call it, punish for that starvation and the ultimate release of abundance food on the occurrence of a vacancy. But hey, this is Ghana for you. We are not there yet. I just pray one of the things I would urge EC, the NCCE, and civil society to take interest in is to help in educating the Ghanaian voter so that the politicians will not take advantage of us or them
I see.
On such
but Professor Sapon, hold on a bit for me. In fact, when we went to the constituency earlier today, at least with the few people we interacted with, they sounded discerning and their own deduction of this overnight development contradicts this position you put out. But let's take a look at him.
We are not kids in this town. We know the level of development prior to the elections. They have neglected us for long. If the NDC presents Kwesi 100 times, we will vote for him 100 times. They have sat down until a by-election, and if they think this is the best time for road construction to start, we welcome it. But
so that's it. They said what they're saying is suspicious, right? And really, they don't see the genuineness in all of this. Professor Sapon.
Yeah, so Asinoff have benefited some way in terms of road construction, but there were a lot. So my argument in Kumewu, for example, was that, yes, if government says the plans were far advanced and contracts had been awarded and blah, 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 they should try and answer the question whether the speed with which such projects were executed would have been same, but for the by-election. The same question to Asinoff. Asinoff, when you start Asinoff, it starts from Asin Praso. When you end Adanse Praso at Ashanti region, then you begin Asinoff. They have benefited greatly, and let me say it on your program, that the road from Asin Praso to Asin Fusu is first class, is world class. They benefited. But what was lacking and still government to tell you was part of the plan, but was not being educated or executed, was the Akonfo to Asin Akonfo and then Asin Breku, their town roads. Asin Breku is their district capital. And then Asin Akonfo, a very prominent community, you know, Kushia, the neatest city, the town in Ghana or West Africa also. All those communities are in there. The roads linking Asempanaye, for example, to Kushia has been on the drawing board, but the pace very slow. And I'm sure it will be expedited because of by-election. The road leading Ningo, Apoli Ningo, to maybe Breku or Tau. It's a very short distance that would have linked the central region to the eastern region, but very deplorable. Comfort the town roads. These are roads that government will say. I'm sure you would have interviewed them and they would have told you. I saw your good friend, the road minister in the constituency, telling the people that these are not by-election rules. What I'm saying is that even if they were on the drawing board, can anybody tell me this evening that but for the by-election, the speed with which they have received this attention would have been same? But let's see what the good people of Asin North will decide. I still insist it is an open contest because their voting pattern suggests that that seat cannot be said to be an NDC seat, neither can it be said to be an NPP seat. They should continue to engage the community. We plead they should characterize all these activities with peace. All these things should be done in a very peaceful manner. We don't want to hear of any conflict or any misunderstandings that results in injuries and all those things. They should go ahead in peace, and let's see what the very descending or good people of Asin North will do on election day.
Definitely, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing here on your election command center ahead of that crucial by-election. Stakes are extremely high. Professor Sapong, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Welcome. Yeah.
This is Ghana Tonight, and we have eyes on the Asin North constituency. Stay with us. Every day, we will bring you an update from there because of the dynamics of this particular constituency, a typical swing region, swing constituency in the Ashanti, that's the central region, which is actually a swing region in itself. So we're going to be looking at all of these dynamics and whether Kenneth Japan, when he gets into the mix, supporting the candidate that the MPP selects, is going to make a difference at all. Stay with us. But coming up next, persons who have defaulted in registering their SIM cards before the lapse of the 31st May deadline have been given a lifeline, subject to conditions. But the Momo agents have a concern. We're going to be hearing from them shortly. Well, we were at some of the centers and also the headquarters of the National Identification Authority, NIA, because the Ghana card is the sole document for this SIM card registration. A number of you reached us this morning that you have not been given your Ghana card. You've been given just a sheet with the number on it. What is there for you? Take a look.
The details I used to register my old SIM has been missing. So I went to the bank to get my details from the bank before I can register for my SIM. That's why I'm here.
But do you have your Ghana card?
No, yeah, I have my Ghana card.
Okay. So it means that the details that you used to register
was for someone, but the person has traveled to Dubai. That's why I tried to get access to the person, but the MTN office said that I could not register for my SIM. The number, I use it for my bank account, and I'll lose plenty things. So I talked to them, I believed them, they said I should go to my bank to bring my bank statement before I can register. But I've been busy for a few days. That's why today I tried to come, because today is the last day. So I just tried to come here to make sure I get done.
Last me buy, my chance, and answer me buy you, and answer me buy no me buy form line. Me the line one nas mania, and then I me force say no. It just me a while now. My buy Ghana card no. It's me buy no problem. Me bedrew around 6 o'clock. And so now me join the queue. And the Siano there. I mean, say, baby, my drew is there. Yeah.
I'm going to say, I'm going to say, me a 5-7 here because we see me when you know, I'm really a major. It's so much I'm going to have into my bass every baby. Yeah, garden and driving by my son country and an Esumaba. It's here, but if you want to become a driver until you acquire a chance and I about it. It's time make messy me about a side way so I echo. Intina mania time na me baro but e ba no sa no me sure say this me ja majuma no to na me bla na me be intina me wa.
Well, so with all these concerns put together, plus the Mobile Money Agents Association raising concern that some 45,000 of their members may be out of business if this directive is carried through. So we've got through to Engineer Dr. Kenashigbe, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Telecommunications Chamber. earlier today on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, where I asked him exactly how many SIM cards have been deactivated today and how many will be done in total, and the concerns of the mobile money agents. Take a look. How many SIM cards may have been deactivated today after the expiration of the deadline yesterday?
Okay, so you know, we were dealing with around a 9 million number, but however, you are not able to do all of that. It's not like a switch that you would turn off to turn off your transmitter at 3FM. So you would have to go and deal with this in batches. So the MNOs have particular numbers that they're able to do in a day. So approximately almost like maybe around 2.7 million, thereabout, to 3 million would have been done this today. And so I'm sure in the coming couple of days or more, we'll be able to deal with all the total number of about 9 million that we have on the for the three MNOs, Airtel, MTN, and Vodafone.
I see.
So what it means is that, well, fortunately, and through the magnanimity of the NTA, instead of blocking and deleting and removing these numbers from the SIM database, the NCA has offered that all of these numbers that are blocked, we hold on to delinking and removing them till the NCA comes back to communicate when. And so what that means is that these numbers would be able to dial *44# and be able to register again and get their numbers back. But the window that has been open for them, it's just for a period. The NCA can always come back at any time and then come and close it and then ask that these numbers be delayed, such that then the people, the subscribers will not be able to get their numbers back. So it is very important that we stress that if you have been blocked, you are still able to register your number. So go get your Ghana card and immediately complete your registration. And in this time, you can't say you're doing the stage one and leave it for another time. Once you finish the stage one, you should proceed to do the bio capture and complete the registration.
I see. So it is *404#. That's the short code.
That would enable you to do the registration. And if you finish it, you then can dial *400# to check, whether it's been done. And you should be seeing the B cap saying yes.
Right. And one other concern that we've gotten is that some people, through no fault of theirs, don't have the Ghana card. And they were giving a cheat with some interim Ghana card number by the National Education Authority, awaiting the printing of their cards. What happens to these people?
Okay, so what has happened is that there are a few exemptions that the NCA has made. And one of these exemptions are people who have genuine reasons why they don't have their Ghana cards in their hands, or they have had some SIM registration challenges. So when you have such a challenge, you go to the NCA, or you send them an email, or you use any of the channels, and you can take a shot of that slip, and then you share it with them. They would, and then as well as your number, and then they would be able to look at it, adjudicate, and then direct the telcos to exempt you from it and make sure your service is not blocked. And then you also have foreign diplomats who don't register for Ghana cards. They've been exempted. Refugees as well. If you're a refugee, you also would be exempted. Ghanaians who have their phones outside the jurisdiction, who've been there for 6 months, they are also exempted. Ghanaians who are outside Ghana on national assignments are also exempted. And then the NCA has exempted merchants and agents for the time being, and they are working to get their registration also sorted out.
As was expected, some 45,000 of their members would have been out of business today.
It's more than that. The numbers are more than that, because apart from they are looking at just the agents, you also have the issues of the merchants as well. And so the numbers were more than that. And the NCA, considering the impact on financial inclusion, considering the impact on government as well, is taking steps to ensure that we get these agents and merchants registered as quickly as possible.
I see. So these agents and merchants, as we speak today, none of them have had their SIMs blocked. They're still working.
None of them are supposed to have their SIMs blocked. So if there are any of them who have their SIMs blocked, they should reach out to the networks they are on, and I'm sure if it's an error, it would be dealt with.
So that's Engineer Dr. Kenashigbe there, talking about all the concerns that a number of you reached us with. Let's go on Zoom now. Evans Otumfo is General Secretary of the Mobile Money Agents Association. Evans, thank you so much for joining us on Ghana Tonight. So you've heard Engineer Dr. Kenashigbe, CEO, Chamber of Telecommunications, saying your members have been exempted for now. Have any of your members come to you that their SIM cards have been blocked?
Right, Alfred, thanks for having me. For now, we are yet to receive such complaints, and so it is believed that, yes, the over 45,000 agents have actually been exempted from the 31st May deadline that was given by the NCA. So for now, businesses are still ongoing without any interruption from the deadline that the NCA has given.
I see, but are you aware of any processes to get you, the agents and merchants, registered?
Yes, so for now, we have engaged with the service providers so that there will be a premium attached to the registration or the regularization as directed by the NCA. And so if you visit all the mobile money service providers facilities, there is a special department created just to cater for the numbers that is coming from the agent side that as of now they have not linked their Ghana card or the regularization. And then also there is an alternative that is provided to agents that we consider them to be corporate entities. And so the 10 SIM cap that was communicated for agents and corporate bodies, which agents also fall under, we are not going to experience that particular limitation because the agent will be given a profile under which a pool is created to contain all the SIMs. So there will be no limitation that will be given to the agent. So what is left now is for us to enhance the process, engage in further communication so that the agents will understand how the whole process will play out and then cooperate accordingly so that the limited time that is given, we should be able to get all these numbers catered for, except that those that as of now are not issued with their Ghana card, and then other challenges would arise. What we have to build.
But there's another concern, though, that even though you, the agents, mobile money agents, you have been exempted from this blocking and deactivation of SIMs, your customers are now having their SIMs deactivated because of the expiration of the deadline. That certainly must concern you and how this is going to impact on the volumes of mobile money, is it not?
Absolutely true. I mean, our businesses strive or leverage the activities of persons behind these SIM cards, i.e., mobile money activities, purchasing of data, airtime, and almost all activities that are performed on these SIM cards, they are always necessitated by the agents. And it means that it is the customers that keep the agents in business. So if we are looking at over 9 million subscribers or SIMs to be blocked, then it means that it's really going to have a huge impact on the businesses of our members. What it means is that business is really going to slow down. It is rather going to increase unemployment. I mean, the whole ecosystem and its actors will heavily be impacted. So it is not just about we being happy that the agents have been exempted, but we are really much concerned with the figures that they are going to delink them or take them out of the system. It means if over 9 million subscribers are off the ecosystem, then what that means is that the impact is really going to be very huge on us.
Okay, we'll see how the coming days will look like, but thank you, Mr. Otumfuo. That's Evans Otumfuo, General Secretary of the Mobile Money Agents Association of Ghana. This is Ghana Tonight. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. We get into the Supreme Court ruling yesterday. It will interest you what they had to say. Stay with us.
Hey, the marriage counselors are on their way. Hey, they have to inspect your place before they approve the marriage. Fala Friday, no. Friday we are home.
I think they are here. Let me call you back.
We need AC.
I get fan too.
We need fridge. Many sure process about washing machine crowd. We need TV. Hey, just what them have here. And Pankwana.
Hey, where they are to Pankwana?
At the point entertainment in Quadia. Eddie Assembeba. Our way, Embassy.
Hey, Ratchet into TCL Fala Friday promotion. Into one day.
Yes, Friday we are TCL Fala Friday is back. Up to 50% discount on all TCL products. Just say TVs, ACs, fridges, washing machines. Nina are selling at up to 50% discount. Visit any TCL showroom nationwide now wants to enjoy.
Back. This is Ghana Tonight. Now, the Supreme Court has, in a unanimous decision, dismissed the case filed against the regulation of plant breeders. Now, Parliament in 2020 passed the Plant Variety Protection Act 2020, Act 1050, to regulate breeders. Now, a breeder under this law is a person who bred or discovered and developed a variety. So the employer of the person or the successor in title of the person, for that matter. In fact, the law makes a breeder bound to any measure taken by Ghana to regulate the production, certification, and marketing of material of a variety of the importation or the exportation of the material. In fact, that's what you see there on the screen. The law as well also requires breeders to apply for a plant breed or the breeder rights in order to undertake that activity. So this food advocacy group, Food Sovereignty Ghana, dragged the Attorney General to the Supreme Court, contending that these portions of the law are unconstitutional. Let's go on to Zoom now. Edwin Bafo is with the Food Sovereignty Ghana Communications. Is joining us on Zoom. So Bafo, thank you so much for your time on Ghana Tonight. This is a unanimous ruling by the Supreme Court. So what's going to be next for you, this group, that you contended this particular position of the law?
Well, I mean, we have to wait for the official judgment. We were told in court by the presiding judge, His Lordship Bafo Boni, that we would receive the judgment on Friday. So we're looking forward to that on Friday. However, we did hear in another media report earlier that the report will be out in October. We're not so sure, but our counsel will look for that report tomorrow so that we can read their judgment and understand it and then know the grounds for which we can seek a review. Bearing in mind that we're a civil society organization who went into this case with the interests of the welfare of the Ghanaian people at heart. And that remains the reason why we took this case up. And so until the welfare of Ghanaian farmers and citizens is upheld, then we will continue to make sure that the law speaks for us. So we're waiting to look forward to the judgment and to analyze it and understand how we can move forward with the review.
In fact, I look
the law
at
does
the
allow that.
Right. I look at the brief as published across media. Justice Bafoboni, whom you referred to, pointed out that the case fails in its entirety as the jurisdiction of the court has not been properly invoked. I mean, what's your counsel's position about this particular decision by the panel of judges, making reference to the jurisdiction of the court not being properly invoked in this case?
First, it comes across as a little bizarre and a great disappointment. We feel that the Supreme Court, being the apex court in this land, if there's an issue of the wrong jurisdiction, we are wondering what took so long for this honorable court. This is the third or the fourth time that we've been waiting for the judgment to be given. But we've appeared in court several times, almost over 2 years. And we're wondering what this eminent panel would have waited for 2 years to figure out the issues based on the jurisdiction of this case. However, having said that, we are still looking forward to the reasoning behind why the court feels that they are not the right court to look at this issue, being that they're the apex court of Ghana. And the issue that we brought up was that we're challenging the constitutionality of the Plant Variety Protection Act, which was passed by Parliament in 2021. And we are challenging the fact that the international law had not been ratified yet by our Parliament. I believe that it's Article 75, which requires that any international treaty is brought before our Parliament, who are the representatives of the people, and upon their endorsement, it then becomes domestic law. This we don't believe has happened, and in fact, we thought that there should have been a reference to that in the court decision yesterday, but we didn't hear anything. All we heard was that we have there's an issue of the jurisdiction. So we want to find out which court possibly in Ghana has the power by the Constitution to overturn an act of Parliament. We believe that is the Supreme Court.
I see. So we'll wait, and then as you get the full judgment, the decision that you and your counsel will take on this matter. Edwin Bafo, Communications Director, Food Sovereignty Ghana, thank you so much for joining us on Ghana Tonight. Also stay with us, because the Supreme Court, in a unanimous decision, declared as unconstitutional the law that allowed government to impose restrictions during the COVID-19 pandemic. Tomorrow, we have one of the plaintiffs in this case joining us to understand why the Supreme Court ruled in this way. Thank you so much for joining us on Ghana Tonight. On behalf of the rest of the team, we appreciate your company. As always, I am Alfred Ocansey. Have a good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.